It's a lot easier to interact with people than it is a blank screen. So if you would please share your camera so that I can see you. And if you would please as well, make sure that you're not about to hop in the shower or in the bathroom when you share your camera. Yes, that has happened before. So, and the team has had to race behind the scenes to say, hey, you're about to hop in the shower, turn your camera off. That's a whole different website and program. We don't offer that particular type of entertainment here. But hey, so just make sure your camera's off. And we're going to talk, which I'll recap a lot of this in a moment. We're going to talk a lot about what we've covered. We're going to dig deeper. We're going to look at ways of being. We're going to look at ways of being that we're going to look at your predominant way of being that holds every single one of you back. And I'm going to give you some solutions and thoughts and ways to get through that way of being today. We're going to talk a little bit about characteristics today, which are ways to be. And then we'll talk about some other things as well. So I'll cover that once everyone gets on here. And if you would please hit the chat box. Where are you guys in the world? Just want to see where you guys are. Everywhere from New York to Australia to Peru to hit the chat box if you would please. So South Africa, wow, we have quite a few people. Denton used to live in Dallas, Australia, Sonoma. Chandler, you're right down the road here, about an hour and a half. Sydney, I love Sydney. BC is beautiful. Fort Lauderdale, nice place. Ontario, hi there. Brisbane, nice to see you. Edmonton, Alberta, nice to see you. Grand Junction, Colorado. Nice. I looked at buying another home in Durango, Colorado. So I love Colorado. Philadelphia, Holland, Omaha, uh, Montauk. Nice. Wow. When I was in this city, I used to live in Manhattan. People would go to Montauk a lot on the weekend. Florida, Nebraska, Vancouver. I love it. We have people from all over the world here. Okay, so at least for me, that helps me. We've got all of you guys on the home screen. You got your cameras on. Today, we're going to start talking about ways of being. Ways of being are characteristics, and we're going to look at the characteristics that candidly, most of you don't exhibit. Everything I'm telling you, I'm not judging. I have been there. And because I wasn't having and I wasn't showing these characteristics, I wasn't creating what I wanted in life. The characteristics come from your subconscious identity. And we're going to talk about a half a dozen characteristics here in a bit. And then we want to, as I mentioned earlier, start looking at your number one limitation for every single one of you. And your number one limitation for every single one of you, that is the number one thing that has robbed you of the life that you want, no matter what it is. Health, relationships, doesn't matter. More money, it doesn't matter. There's one characteristic that pretty much controls every single one of you, has taken away from you and robbed you of the life that you want. That number one characteristic, anyone want to guess what it is? Hit the chat box, and then I'll start screen sharing. Anyone want to guess what that number one characteristic is? That number one way of being that takes the life from you that you want. It's prevented you from going on dates. It's prevented you from talking to people. It's prevented you from having the kind of money that you want. It's prevented you from pretty much everything. I see here that number one characteristic is fear. So we're going to talk about fear today as well and how to get through it. I saw a comment here. I did a live, it's in the banner on Saturday on money. Many of you, if you don't have the kind of money you want, money is easy to make. Plain and simple. I'm going to tell you candidly. If you haven't noticed by this point, I'm very direct. I just tell you like it is. I did a live on Saturday on money. I'll do at least one more and maybe two more. And we talk about the psychologies behind money and then why you're not attracting the kind of money that you want to attract. So when we finish the third call, people tend to start falling off and disappearing, thinking that we are done. You can be done if you want to be done. Not going to hurt me any. We're not done here. And we're not done here until we close this group. And this group is closing on the 12th of July. So I noticed some of you guys have been inviting some friends and family, coworkers, different people. Invite people to watch the training. We also were talking this morning to the guy who manages my marketing, and we've talked about it before. We've never done it. I can't say what we are going or not going to do, but we may not be offering this free ever again in the future. We are probably going to productize it and start charging for it. Why? Because it's really damn good. And I'm tired of actually giving it away free and people not showing up when we do everything we do and people not showing up. Normally, and this is the small group, normally, as I said, we take 3 months to promote this and get all of our logistics. And we've had up to 30,000 people register for what you guys are going through now. We're just doing a small little sample right now, meaning just a small little group of people. But we're thinking of taking that and just turning it into a product and digitizing every bit of it. My whole point, tell people to watch it while they can, because it's going away on July the 12th. So I've covered that. Invite people, the Money Lives Wednesday. I'm going to be doing a call on Wednesday. It will be announced. It'll be in the banner. We'll announce it here. And the call on Wednesday is going to be a live coaching call with me. It'll be Q&A, but it'll also be a live call. And I will probably work for you guys at least an hour coaching you guys, showing you how we context coach, but I'm going to coach you through some of the crap you're in. You can bring anything you want. I'm stuck in my relationship. Should I get married? Should I leave? By the way, we don't dispense psychological advice. We're not licensed therapists. I do coaching, but I've had many, probably 1,000, literally in the last 6 years, licensed therapists in my groups. And many will tell you they're not even taught and trained with what I train people on. So we're going to be doing a call on Wednesday, and I'm going to be live coaching. So if you want to talk to me, we'll start a list, and I'm going to just start going through the list, and I'm going to start coaching you guys, me and you. Of course, there'll be other people there. But here's the thing, many of you are afraid to show up in life. Get over it already. Because you know what? There's a phrase that we work by in TCP, and that phrase is what's most personal is most general. The things that are going on in your life, you don't want people to know about. That same shit is going on in someone else's life, and your neighbor's life, and everyone else's life, but no one talks about it. So this is authenticity at its best. And when we share where we're stuck, we not only, that's a catharsis, we help ourselves, we get coached through it, but we help other people. So keep an eye out for that. And before we get started, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll probably go about 90 minutes today. I don't know, because I'm not going to rush through it, but we'll probably spend about 90 minutes. And whatever you do, make sure you watch all of our time today. At the end of our call, I'm going to show you and I'm going to demonstrate to you how your context based on fear has kept you trapped and kept you from everything you want. So let's get started today. All right, Tom, my team, can you see the screen? Anitra, are we okay? All
Yep,
right,
you're
let
good.
me start the slide share. There we go. Can you see the screen, Anitra? All right, so this is part 3 of the Be to Have series. You've got to be before you can do, before you can have. What we're going to do is do a very quick recap of what we've already covered in our time together. Number one, the illusion of subconscious context versus thinking. Thinking is left brain analytical. I like this, I don't like that. Context is the iceberg. I showed you a picture very quickly. The iceberg below the surface with all of your context. Your context, to keep it simple, is your subconscious beliefs and what you think about life, money, health, and wellness. Your context will always control the content, meaning what you even allow yourself to think and what you create in life. Your context comes from your subconscious mind, your past experiences, and part number 2, the brain. And your brain is full of fearful context. The reptilian part of the brain is responsible for keeping you safe and your survival. So we don't do anything that we don't perceive as absolutely safe, even though pretty much nothing in life is safe. They used to tell you that drink a lot of water, which I do, by the way. And now I've even read things where drinking too much water causes cancer. Hell, sneezing causes cancer, whatever report you read this day and age. Years ago in the 80s and the 70s, they were like, you should not eat butter and eggs. Eggs are bad for you. Now they're saying eat eggs. Eggs are good for you. But anyway, many of you work from a lot of your context, and your context is fear-based, and it keeps you trapped in life. The master thought formula. How many of you have used this over the weekend? My thoughts are an illusion. What's real is my ability to think thoughts. I am the thinker of my thoughts. I move my attention to blank. Remember day number 1, we looked at 432 Park Avenue, the top of 432 Park Avenue, and ground level. Whatever your thoughts are about, I lost my job, it sucks, I'm afraid, that's ground level. We have to go to a higher level and actually look at our thoughts and recognize we are the thinker of our thoughts. Fundamental principle from the Day on Habits last Friday is do not fight the habit. Do not fight yourself. The brain gives us cravings to make us do the habit. So the brain gives us cravings, and what we do is we fight the craving, the ice cream, whatever it is, and we generally collapse into the craving. So when this comes, the urge for the Diet Coke or the ice cream or whatever it is, dismiss the urge. Do not ignore it. Dismiss it. If you ignore it, it will fight you. Dismiss the habit voice and move your attention, because you are where your attention is. The number one thing that you guys could master in life, and we spend a lot of time helping you discover more about yourself, but is where you keep your attention. Where you keep your attention is where you are in life. And all this comes from your subconscious identity. You keep your attention on being broke. What do you perpetuate? I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm broke. That's where your attention is. That's where you are. Go look at your bank account. Shocker. No surprise. The outside matches the inside, and the inside matches the outside. This is why I say we have to transform our life from the inside out. Now, in the last session, we covered subconscious reprogramming. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, not right now. Hear, see, and imagine what it is you want to create. Imagine it as already true. Do not force it. Repetition over and over and over. And I generally tell people that the most effective way to do this is in the morning, first thing when you wake up, not checking your phone first thing, but actually programming yourself first thing, at lunchtime, and the last thing before you go to bed. You do this and you will find you're creating change. But why is this so hard for many of you to do this? Why do so many of you fall off track very, very quickly? How many of you have forgot most of what I've said over the weekend? By the way, research demonstrates that you will have forgotten, because you might think, oh, I don't need any more work of Jim. I got what I need. No, you don't. Research will demonstrate that you will forget 97% of what we've covered in a matter of 1 week. Think about that. You will forget 97% of what we've covered in less than 1 week. Why? Because the brain gets busy, life gets busy, we filter it out. So you already know that your business and your life is 100% reflection of you internally. Your external world, your bank, your relationships, your money, your business, everything is a reflection of you. And what many of you do, we'll talk about today, You try to fix things on the outside. You try to create more by doing more. But what you never look at, day number one, the triangle, identity at the bottom. What's the identity trying to fix the shit that's broken? The identity is the identity that broke it in the first place. And you're trying to use the very same identity to fix the shit you broke. Think about that. Think about that, guys. Seriously. You can't fix what you broke because you're the one who broke it and you don't even know how you broke it. You've got to go to a higher level. You've got to see from a different perspective. You've got to shift the identity. When you shift the identity, everything else changes. As I said, we're going to look at thoughts and characteristics today. The predominant thoughts we're going to look at are your fear-based thoughts, and your characteristics, we're going to look at about 6 of them that I consider to be fundamental characteristics to assist you in creating what you want in life. Of these 6 characteristics, if I gave you guys a checkboard and you had to check off how well you did with each of these characteristics, which, by the way, you use them every day anyway. You live them because they're part of your life. But if I ask you, and nobody would know the answers, to grade yourself on these, your answers are probably going to be pretty low. Not judging, I've been there before, but I'm going to show you what these characteristics are. Okay, so your characteristics are your ways of being, and you can be all kinds of ways. This is not about doing per se, it's first about being. So are you being decisive or indecisive? Are you being fair or not fair? Are you being honest or not honest? Are you being humble, observant, energetic, emotional, absorbed, confident, tenacious, strong, courageous is the big one, which we're going to talk about more than anything else today. Are you being courageous? If you had to really answer that, are you being courageous when you're afraid of, oh my God, what are other people going to think about me? Oh no, I can't do that because if I do, I might fail and people are going to judge me. Are you being courageous? Really? I hate my job. I want to start another job. I want to go out on my own, but I'm afraid. Or I'm hanging on to that paycheck like it's like my salvation. Is that courage? But many of you do not live from courage. You live from fear. Again, I'll show you that in a little bit. Now you remember the models of performance, have, do, be versus be, do, have. Many of you don't create what you want because you continue, no matter how much I say it, to work from have. And you're going to see that the next couple of days in this group because I'm going to offer you guys the opportunity to work with me personally and my coaches for 13 weeks. And 95% of you will say, I really want to do it, but I can't. And it's not expensive. Anybody can make it happen. I want to do it, but I can't do it because I don't have the money. Serious? You're going to fall right back into your old shit again? Figure it out. Become resourceful. Develop the traits we're talking about and make something happen. Stop working from fear. But most of us in life, I can't have that new home. I can't have that car. I can't have that partner. I can't have that jewelry. I can't have that website. Whatever it is we work from, we can't have it. As I've said before, poor people look at something and say, what does it cost? That's a poor person mentality. Wealthy people look at something and they'll probably ask what it costs, but they'll first say, what will this do for me? And that's what I look at is what will something do for me? Because if it'll do something for me, I'm all in. I'm going to do it. Okay, so most people work from have, do, be. If I had more, I could do more, I could be more. Where we must start working from, be, do, have. We'll look at that more today. Who and how must I be? What are the characteristics I must be so that I can do, so that I can finally have the car, the home, the date, the money, whatever it might be for you. So let's look at these 6 characteristics. Number 1 is going to kick a lot of you in the rear end. Committed. What are you most committed to? Think about that. What are you most committed to? Here's the kick in the rear end. Look at your life. Are you broke? You 100 pounds overweight? I'm not judging. Again, we can work you through all this, but look at this. That's what you're committed to. Again, this sounds a little judgy. I promise it's not. I was getting on many, many years ago. I was getting on a flight about 20 years ago. And this woman sat down next to me and she put all of her stuff next to her and she had all the junk food with her and all the magazines that she was reading were all gossip magazines. So ask yourself, now she might have had a health issue, maybe thyroid or something, but I'm telling you, and I've helped people do this, you can heal anything. Anything in the body can be healed. It doesn't matter. Anything you give me, I can show you examples of how I've either helped people or I know people who have healed that. Stage 4 cancer, multiple sclerosis, thyroid problems, body problems, all of this can be healed. Why? Because the body is made to heal itself. That's what it does. Proof? Cut your finger. You don't need to focus on it. It heals automatically because your body knows how to heal. But what are you committed to? Think about that. What are you committed to? So look at your life. That's what you're committed to. And if you're not getting the results in life that you want, because you're always committed to something, what you have to look at is what you're committed to. And if you're not getting the results that you want, let's concretize this. If you say, I want to be in great shape, but you're lying on the couch every day and not eating healthy and not going to the gym, but I want to go to the gym every day, but you're lying on the couch eating Snickers bars all day long, what are you really committed to? You're committed to actually lying on the couch and eating Snickers bars and being overweight, but we don't want to own that. And we're going to talk about ownership. You have to own your stuff because until you own it, many of you guys don't want to own your stuff. Why? Because it makes you feel bad when you look at it. But you know what? Nothing is going to change, which we'll cover, until you accept 100% responsibility for your life. So characteristic, ways of being. Number one, you must be committed. If you don't like that word, then pick the word devoted to the outcomes that you want to create in life. Let's say you want to be better at sales. Well, then that means you must be committed to learning more about sales, more about persuasion, more about influence, and more about actually anything and everything related to your industry, your product, your service, whatever it might be. And if you're not doing that, you're not committed. Next one. Most of you probably think that you are a responsible person. And we often think that responsible means if I tell you I'll pick you up at the airport, so to speak, years before Uber and all that, I'll be there. I'll be responsible for picking up the kids. I'll be responsible for this. I'll be responsible for dinner. I'll be responsible for booking our plane tickets. I'll be responsible for these things. It is, but it's not responsibility. The definition of responsibility is, write this down, please, if you're not driving, making something happen. If you don't have what you want in your life, you have not been responsible for making it happen. Why? Because you get into your shit and your fear, which again, we're going to talk about a lot today, and getting out of it. But plain and simple, own it. You've not been responsible. Even though you might think you are a responsible person, you're not responsible for the outcomes that you have created or want to create. Actually, the reverse of that is you're being irresponsible. Let that sink in. You're being irresponsible with the life that you want to create. The next one is self-integrity. Now, Dr. Michael Jenkins of Harvard University Business School did some research back about 10 years ago. And what he said is the concept of self-integrity is the most overlooked concept in life and business. What he discovered with an extensive amount of research, when you become integral, self-integral, your productivity will go up anywhere between 100 and 500% with no additional input, which means you will increase your performance or your output or your creation in life anywhere between 100 and 500% with no additional input, meaning no additional people, no additional money, no additional resources, whatever it might be, simply by this one concept. But what is self-integrity? Self-integrity is this, and most of you, and I know I've done this long enough, most of you drop the ball big time in this area. Self-integrity is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. So, how many of you have said you're going to go to the gym and you don't do it and you think you're committed? Well, it's a lack of self-integrity. But that applies to anything. I'm going to learn new sales skills. I'm going to develop myself and work on myself this year. I'm going to make a lot more money and I've got to do X, Y, Z to do it. I'm finally going to start my book. I'm going to start painting for a living. I'm going to build that new website, whatever it is, and you say it, blah, 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 and you don't do it. That is a lack of self-integrity. Now, let me ask you, what happens when someone tells you they're going to do something and you say, hey, remember you said you're going to do X, Y, Z? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to do it. And they tell you they're going to do it and they don't. What do they start teaching you about themselves? They start teaching you they're not going to do it, right? So let's personalize this. What do you teach yourself about yourself when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it? You teach yourself that it's not important to do what you say you're going to do. In that moment, that's a lack of value. That's a lack of lower self-worth and self-esteem. But what you've done is you've proven to yourself that, you know what? I can't depend on me. When I say I'm going to do something, I already know I'm not going to do it. You've already taught yourself that you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. Eating right, the gym, whatever it might be. Next one, we're going to spend a lot of time on this one today. Most of you, and this is a pretty brutal word, and when I actually applied it to myself, I'm like, shit, that hurts. Most of you, in many ways, are cowards. You're afraid of other people. You're afraid of what they are going to think. You're afraid of letting loose and living your own life. Many of you live your lives for other people. Many of you wanted to be an artist or a painter or a dancer or a singer, but you were afraid to tell mom and dad who wanted you to be a doctor or a lawyer that you wanted to follow your dreams. Many of you want to start your own business, but you're afraid. What if I fail? Oh my God, if I fail, what's that going to say about me? Then my dad's always told me that I could never be anything. What's my dad going to think about me? Or what's my mom? Or what's my family or my brothers? Or what are my freaking neighbors going? Who cares? Live your life. Everyone. I've had my ass handed to me before. Everyone fails somewhere. And the only way you're going to get ahead in life is to actually do something and risk that failure. And there's no risk in it whatsoever, because if you don't do it, you're going to fail anyway by living someone else's life. Either way, you're going to risk failure, but why not risk failure in a way that's going to get you what you want to create in life? Next one. It's a big one for a lot of you guys. I'm going to offer you guys the opportunity, every one of you, the choice and the opportunity to work with me and my coaches for 13 weeks. Every day we're coaching and we do live calls and all that. I'll show you that in a bit. And many of you will make the choice not to do it out of fear, out of your brain controlling you, and out of your past. And many of you will make your choices from your past as opposed to your future and possibilities. Any given second in your life is a choice point. You had the choice to be here today. You have the choice to say, screw you, Jim, I'm out of here. You have the choice for anything you want right now. And your life is not about choices. Your life is a choice. Your life is an amalgamation of all the choices you have made in your life. We need to learn to make we need to learn to make choices and then to make wise choices. Question for you. And I want you to think about this question later. Once we're done with this call, as I said, later, and it's going to be very short. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to tell you how you can work with me and my coaches. And you're going to be in the process of making a choice. And that choice is going to be, do I want to transform my life or do I not? Do I want my fear to control me for the rest of my life? What I want you to ask yourself right there is this question. Am I making my choices from my fears and my brain-based habits and my old identity from the past? Or am I making my choices from opportunity and possibility and what I could create in life? The whole point is you're going to be thinking about it later. And as you do, ask yourself where you're making your choices from. This is what we do in TCP. We show you who you are. And what I'm going to tell you right now, where you're making that choice from, I guarantee you, I will bet $1 million you have actually made your life from that choice context for decades prior. And that's why things don't change for you, because you make your choices from the same fearful context. Next, disciplined. How disciplined are you? And that comes back to self-integrity and being responsible and being committed. How disciplined are you with creating and doing the things that you say you want to do in life? What a lot of people do is they don't have strong self-management skills. And these are things we work with you guys on. So what they do is they go into overwhelm. And then many times when people go into overwhelm, they go into collapse, meaning I can't do this. I'm tired. To hell with it. I'm going to go watch Netflix. Why? Because remember disintegration anxiety, you're trying to change. Part of your brain is pulling you back to not change at all. So the brain will sabotage everything I'm showing you here on this screen. The brain will try to sabotage you out of every bit of this because the part of your brain, the reptilian part of the brain and the striatum is in the habit of not being any of these things. Let that soak in. There's a part of your brain in the habit of not being any of these things. Then when you attempt to be these things, then what happens is habit voice kicks in and starts talking you out of it. I really wish we were in a live audience meeting where I could see all of you at one time, because I'd want to know how many of you can relate and you can see yourself in what I'm talking about. I could for decades. I see, and I've seen every bit of this in me. And the key is not about being perfect in life. It's not. We all are going to stumble. I can look at every one of these areas and tell you where I've stumbled recently. The key is knowing this and then getting back on the horse when we fall off the horse. Many of us fall off the horse and we're like, I'm done. That's not how we get ahead in life. That's not how we create the health, the money, the prosperity, and the peace that we want. All of these together are reflections of your identity. So, success, as a coach of mine used to say many years ago, success in life, however you define that, it can be art, it can be being a mother, seriously. It can be about being a mother. It can be about being a great parent. It can be about money. It can be about building $1 billion business. Doesn't matter. It's all about characteristics and ways of being. And you must have the ways of being that actually move you towards the outcomes that you want to create in life. Let's go back to part number part number one, where I talked about the pyramid. And we all try to do things in our behavior, but your doing is only as effective as the being doing the doing, which means you want better doing, you better have better, more effective, and stronger being. There's no way around it. And it's not in the PDF here, but I want to point out, I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, we're living in a pretty chaotic world. We're living in an extremely chaotic world, socially, politically, economically. Do you think it's time to be weaker or time to be stronger? This time is a time in human history when you want to be stronger than you've ever been before. Why? Because if you're not, there are forces and things on the planet. Let's take economics. You're going to be drug around by the nose by the economy. Where you want to work from is that you be the kind of person that whatever the hell happens in the economy, you can make money. You have investments, you have savings because you've been the kind of person to create that. So if you think putting your head in the sand with what's going on in the world is your most effective strategy, I'm wishing you well on that one because that is not the truth, and it's only going to take you further backwards. So start thinking right now. What characteristics would I need to be today to be stronger than what I've ever been before? And again, the reason why there are a lot of things happening on this planet and a lot of things changing. Now is a time to be stronger, not weaker. So 95% of people, basically you're here because you want something different in your external world. But I hope you realize by this point is that your external world is first created by your internal world. Many of you have the cart before the horse. Back to section one, module one, part one, is that you go for the doing. I want to do all the doing things. But think back 2 slides ago or last slide. What you do is only as effective as your being. And you want to have more, you've got to do more. But to do more, you must be more, and you must be the right things to do to have. So, what is the number one most powerful way that you can be internally? Think about that. Just ponder that for a few seconds. What is the number one most powerful way that you can be internally? My podcast, Transform Your Life from the Inside Out. Top 100 podcast, millions of downloads. Episode number 6 is talking about your highest potential. Your highest potential, most people have it wrong and backwards because they're chasing the wrong crap. Most people think living your highest potential is building a company and building an Arnold Schwarzenegger body back in the 70s. That's nonsensical. It's all 3D, it's all temporary. That is not your highest potential. We have to be our highest potential, which is all an internal state of being. Your potential is not your external state of being. And remember, I've said before, you will never outperform your identity. So what is your identity, even as it relates to potential? Think about that. What is your identity as it relates to potential? Because that's exactly what you're going to create in life. Okay, so now you can redo the homework, but with a new approach and a new thought process. See, when you did your homework, even the first assignment, notice what you did. You did it from your current context. Notice that. Now, everything you've been learning, if you go back and you do the homework again, the one page, it's got the questions at the top and 3 boxes about ways of being, doing, and having. If you look now, you'll fill it in differently now than you did the first day you were here. Why? Because you're learning it's all about being, not about the doing for the things that you want to create in life. So, what is the number one way that you can be that opens up your highest way of being? Think about that. What is the number one way that you could be that opens up your highest way of being? Let me ask you here, and in my groups, we do not allow religion. But let me ask you, I'm going to tell you right now, you can argue, you can not argue. I don't care. Is that every one of you are an electromagnetic being. You are energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. Physics proves that. So guess what? You were somewhere before you came into this body, and you're going to go somewhere energetically when you leave this body. And certain elements of spirituality, they call that a soul. Let me ask you, what fears do you think your soul gets into? None. Your soul doesn't get into fear. These are all things we do as human beings. Your number one way of being is to evolve and recognize that you're unlimited, pure potential. Every one of you are unlimited, pure potential. But if I just said that, you got to be saying, well, what kind of psychobabble motivational bullshit is that? But listen to the way that I'm explaining it to you. When you work from you are, which we're going to talk about, your life is continuity. You are a continuous energy in the universes, maybe not just on this planet, but guess what? You're going to continue on energetically once you leave this body. So why let the body control your entire experience? Why let your 50, 60, 70, 40 years on this planet control the experience that you have on this planet, which is what a lot of you guys do? You let mommy and daddy control you today from what you learned when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Now you're 30, 40, 50, and 60, and mommy and daddy are controlling you from 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Think about that. I'm telling you the truth. So, two master being questions. Number one is, what am I committed to? What am I committed to? And number two, who do I have to be, or who do I need to be to make that happen? You guys ponder that for a second. What am I committed to? Meaning, what do I want to create in life? If you said, for example, I want to create a lot better life, and then we offer you the opportunity to go into coaching with us, guess what? For 97% of you, that shit's right out the window once we tell you that there's a small investment involved. Guess what? But you're like, oh, I'm beating the commitment drum. I'm committed. No, you're not. Own it, which we're going to talk about. Own at least by recognizing the limitations so that you can get out of the limitations. When you recognize them, that is awareness, and you can't change anything until you have awareness. Now, middle of the slide, notice what it said. Who would I be at point B? Think about that. Most of you work from point A to point B. That's a failure strategy, meaning here's where I am, here's where I want to go. I'm going to work to where I want to go from where I am. But where you are is not where you want to go. So why would you work from where you are if that's where you are and that's not where you want to be? Why would you work from where you are to where you want to be when it hasn't gotten you to point B? Many of us work from point A. Listen very carefully, please. We work from point A, where you are, to where you want to be. And notice, research proves that 92% of you do that through goal setting and everything else. And within 3 weeks, you have failed. As a matter of fact, when it comes to New Year's resolutions, week number 3, 92% of people have failed. Why? They're working from the context of point A. So, how do we use this? How committed, if you were at point B, how committed would you have been to get you to point B? Think about that. How self-integral would you have been to get you to point B? How responsible would you have been to get to point B? How courageous would you have been to get you to point B? Does everyone see what we just did? We created a blueprint for you. You work from B to create B. You don't work from A to create B. That's why 92% of people fail. Work from B. So your ways of being are at point B, meaning what you want to have in life. Who would I need to be to buy that brand new car? Who would I need to be and how would I need to be to find that new house? Who would I need to be and how would I need to be to build that business? Who would I be and how would I need to be to meet more friends? Who and how would I need to be in perfect health? By the way, many people come into TCP. I see it all the time. I used to be there, is they come in thinking they want to work on their money. We've had thousands of people go through TCP, and they will tell you very quickly they realize it's not about the money. The number one most valuable thing in your life is your health, because without your health, your money doesn't mean a damn thing. I'm telling you from personal experience. I'm telling you from the massive amount, the countless thousands, if not more than that, meaning into the millions of people that I've impacted and influenced. If you're not in good health, everything else becomes harder. Yet most of us put health last on our list, and it needs to go to the top of our list because the better health you are in, the more you can create, the better you are being, the stronger you are being. The stronger you are being, the better choices you can make, the better committed you can be, the more responsible you can be, the more self-integral you can be. And that's where you create from. By the way, if you have any questions about any of this, remember I'm doing a live call on Wednesday, and I'll be answering any questions you might have about any of this or TCP, and I will be doing live coaching. As well, I've got a half a dozen of my coaches in the group, ask questions in the group about all of this. I'll be in the group tonight. I'm busy all day, but I'll be in the group tonight, and I know my coaches are there to back me up. We all support each other. So ask any questions about anything that we are covering. So here's the question. Who would I be? What would I do? And how would I feel if I already made, did, was, have blank? Remember, guys, you probably didn't see it. The very first homework, I ask you to fill in top of the page. Notice after everything we've done, we go back to the very top of that page. Why? Because I wanted you to see it. Now, go do the homework again and notice what you fill out now will be different than what you filled out before. Why? Because you've learned about how your brain can sabotage you. You've learned about some characteristics and ways of being. You've learned about identity. You've learned about subconscious reprogramming. Notice now how your homework will be different than what it was because you're working from a different context now than you were when you did the homework. Imagine 13 weeks of that on a daily basis. Where do you think you would be with my coaches and I showing you your blind spots? Because even with what you're doing, I guarantee you, I know, I did it myself many years ago. Even with redoing the homework, what are you going to do? You're going to fill it with limitations again. But guess what? You're going to fill it with new limitations that are better than the last limitations, but your brain will try to control you. No matter what you think you want, read the homework, get in the group. People will say, I had a hard time with that homework. Why? There's a part of your brain when you say, I want that, part of your brain puts its hooks in you and says, no, you can't have that. And then you fight it. But it's your brain pulling you backwards. And you have to remember that. It's the part of the brain, the oldest part of the brain, pulling you backwards. And until you own that, that part of the brain's going to own you. Okay, so your being is the genesis of your creating. Everything starts with you creating. Think about that. Everything starts and everything you have in your life, you've created or been complicit in some way. You've been a part of it in some way. You could say, well, my life's a shitstorm right now. I'm in the middle of a divorce. My partner's taking me for a bundle of money. What do you mean I'm responsible? Hey, you're the one who got married. You're the one who did what you did. You're the one who overlooked everything for decades. You're the one who did A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. You are part of the cause, but we don't want to own part of the cause. Why? Because then that makes us responsible, and we don't want to be responsible. So what we'd rather be is a victim. And then you know what? Let's blame someone else. It's not me. Because if it's me, I feel bad about it. And I don't want to feel bad. So I'm going to blame someone else. Your being is the genesis of creating every single thing in your life. That's why it's vital that we, in our time together, when you work with us, we immerse you in being for 13 weeks. And all these concepts we're talking about, we go way deep and immerse you in the being. So here's where we're going to start a little more context today. Fear. Fear rules most of you guys in pretty much every area of your life. And we're going to look at ways to get out of fear. I'm going to give you 8 different approaches. Try them, mix, match, use something to get out of the fear, because you will not get out of the fear until you get out of the fear. Did you hear what I said? You will not get out of the fear until you get out of the fear. And let's say, for example, that you have to do a public speech. You've got to speak in front of people and you're afraid of it. I know people that hide and will never do it. And I know people that are like, oh my God, I'm sweating and I'll do it and all this kind of stuff. And they recognize that, you know what? That's not so bad. Didn't kill me. I'm not dead. That's not so bad. And they learn to get over the fear, which, by the way, fear is the most powerful thing in your life in a very positive way when you know how to use it. But once we get out of the fear, we look back at the fear and we're like, it's no big deal. No big deal at all. So we have to get you out of the fear. So I'm going to give you some approaches here that we can start doing that. So fear is the number one way of being that keeps you away from what you really want in life. Are you more committed to your fear than a better life? Ask yourself. Remember, I said you're always committed to something. So you ask yourself, please, right now, am I more committed to my fear, or am I more committed to having a much, much better life? You can't have both. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. So answer honestly. You don't need to share here. I already know the answer. You probably already know the answer, but what are you more committed to? 8 perspectives for getting over fear. I'll go a little faster on some, a little slower on others. Number 1, life is a continuum. What that means is even when you leave this container of skin that you're walking around in, you don't die. Nothing on this planet dies. Nothing in the universe dies. You have an EEG and an EKG, an electroencephalograph and an electrocardiogram. What that means is brain waves and a heartbeat. Why, when somebody has a heart attack, do they shock them? Think about that. Why is somebody freaking shocked? Like you could take a wall unit and shock somebody. It's because you are an energy being. It's ancient science, but it's also physics. I mean, this is real science. Physics, the most precise science to date on planet Earth. You are an energy being. It was discovered a couple of 100 years ago. Energy cannot be destroyed. It simply changes form. You take an ice cube, which is a solid, you put it in a glass of water, it melts. You still have the same amount of water in the glass, but it's changed forms. You could actually have a bare piece of land and somebody plants 1 acorn and that grows into an oak tree. And then what happens? Another acorn falls down. So, and that other acorn that falls down grows into another tree. Somebody takes that tree and cuts it down and burns it for firewood. That tree's not there physically anymore, but the constant amount of energy in the universe is. It simply changed forms. You cannot and will not die. You will simply change forms. This is ancient wisdom merged with physics, which is what I do a lot of in my programs with people, is most of the world is working backwards. I don't get why people bury people in the ground with all these fancy headstones. That body's not, that energy's not there anymore. It's gone. It's a dead bag of skin. But number one, life is a continuum. And when you embrace that, it starts to alleviate a little bit of your fear that, you know what? Hey, if it kills me, and I'm not asking you to do things and telling you to do things that are going to kill you physically, but you know what? You're going to leave the planet anyway. Every one of you are going to leave this planet, whether or not you like it or not. You're going to leave physically. So why spend your life in so much fear when you're going to leave anyway? Think about that. Many of you are doing something. When I was told this by a coach of mine 20 years ago, it kicked me in the face. But I'm going to share that exact phrase with you. And this is exactly what my coach said to me, and it was a hard kick in the face. She said to me, Jim, what you're doing is you are marking time until you die. Are you marking time until you die? Think about that one. If that one doesn't sober you up and wake you up, then I don't know what will. Next one, talk to yourself. A little cognitive restructuring. Talk to yourself. Okay, this scares the shit out of me, but can I do it anyway? Ask yourself that one question. Can I do it anyway? Then what you're going to go into is yes, but. That's not what I asked you. Can you do it anyway? If you can do it anyway, then think about what you're more committed to, the fear of the new life. If you can do it anyway, and you're truly committed to the new life, then do it. Nothing bad is going to happen. It might not work out like you wanted, but nothing bad is going to happen. But you know what? Nothing's going to change if you don't do something different. Next one, ask yourself this question. What am I really afraid of? For most of you, your two biggest fears are the fear of being judged and the fear of inadequacy. The fear of being judged is abandonment. Oh my God, if people judge me, they're going to say I'm bad. And if they say I'm bad, they're going to reject me. That is abandonment. And many of you are afraid of abandonment. But you know what? This is a vestige of the evolution of what's called the human being, and that many thousands of years ago, we needed each other for hunting and survival. And it was important for us to be part of a tribe. That helped with our survival. But see, we don't live in that world anymore. None of you that I know of have to hunt for your food or any of that. But we still work, many human beings still work from, oh my gosh, if I'm being judged, that's bad. I'm going to share something with you guys. Go back and listen to this and watch it and watch it and watch it again. You will find the truth in what I'm going to tell you. No matter what you do, you will be judged. No matter what you do, you will be judged. Doesn't matter what you do. You can sing, you can dance, you can paint, you can do taxes, you can be a home contractor, you can do what I do for a living. I get judged all the time for what I do, all the time. Doesn't matter what you do, whether you're doing ballet, whether you're starting to work out when you're 70, it doesn't matter. People judge, that's what people do because people are meaning-making machines. They have to make meaning of the world. So no matter what you do, you're going to be judged. So why not just do what you want to do? Because you're going to be judged anyway. Many of you, you're more afraid of anyone else than your mother. Oh my God, what is my mother going to say? I can't do this. My mother is not going to, no, my mom and dad are not going to. What the hell? You're 74 years old. You know, I mean, but many of you let your parents control you as adults. I'm going to tell you a little secret also, and I've got to move a little faster because of timing. But you know what? As you get older and you start living your own life, There are some of you have parents that don't have your best interest at heart, even though they are your mother and father. Why? Because when they can control you, they can manage their reality and their fears. So they try to control you and try to get you to do things so that nothing changes in their world because they're afraid of things changing in their world. So if you don't change anything in your world, which they're going to talk you out of, nothing's going to change in their world and everything is copacetic. How many of you can relate to that? To where you're like, my mom is controlling me, and what? Why? Oh, I can't. Why does she always opinionate? Why do they always tell me what I? That's your parent trying to control you, and they think they're trying to do it because they think they have your best interest at heart. Trust me, the tens of thousands of people that I've coached, they might have your best interest at heart, but many times they don't want you to change because if you change, the relationship with you changes. And guess what? When you start becoming more powerful, they don't like that. Think about that. I'm telling you the truth. Next one, what will happen if I do or I don't do it? I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes. I'm going to keep it short today, but meaning when I tell you how you can work with me. But you know what? Ask yourself, what will happen if I do this? What will happen if I don't do this? If I do this and this guy's not full of shit and he can deliver, this guy can change my life. And if he doesn't do it, he's going to give me a full money back guarantee. I haven't lost anything anyway. But start working from that place. What will happen if I do? What will happen if I don't do? Ask yourself these questions. Number 5, if you don't leave your comfort zone, you will never leave your comfort zone. See, comfort zones are brain-based, and your brain is hardwired to work from pain into pleasure. To leave your comfort zone is pain. Why? Because it creates uncertainty and anxiety. That is pain. There's a part of your brain that avoids pain. So to avoid pain, it stays where you are to avoid the pain of the uncertainty or discomfort. That's why we never leave our comfort zones. So what happens is we want to leave our comfort zone because we want more in life, to have a better life, but we're afraid to leave the comfort zone now, thinking, okay, well, I'm scared as hell to leave my comfort zone, but I could have a much better life if I did. But you know what? At least I know what my life is now, right now, staying in my comfort zone. So what we do is we give up long-term happiness and wealth and money and peace for the short-term, somewhat discomfortable life we're living, but at least we know what it is. Until you leave your comfort zone, you will never leave your comfort zone. I've coached some very high-end people, people that you guys know. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of the most successful people in the world will tell you one of the most successful ways to be successful. I read this a couple of days ago. Barbara Corcoran said this. She's on the show Shark Tank. She's worth $100 million. Barbara Corcoran said something that I'm going to tell you right now that applies to number 5. The most or the easiest way to become successful in life is to get comfortable leaving your comfort zone. Think about that. Get comfortable leaving your comfort zone. Many years ago, I would never leave my comfort zone. Now, I don't care. Why? Because I know I'm going to be a dead bag of skin anyway at one point. Why not just live my life to the fullest? Why not live all of my life? Why not go on the roller coaster ride and enjoy my life? That's the way that I'm going to live. You can live however you want to live, but I'm telling you now, you got to leave your comfort zone. Number 6 is one of my favorite quotes. Fear is the idleness of will. Anytime you go into fear, what you're really saying is, I'm weak, I'm helpless, there's nothing I can do. So for example, let's say you lost your job and you're like, oh my God, I'm in so much fear. I lost my job. I lost my job. I lost my job. Notice the lack of power there as opposed to saying, okay, I lost my job. I am, and I will, notice the word will, and I'm talking about also energetic will, not willpower, I will find, create another job. Notice the difference. One is complete collapse, one is possibility. When you're working from possibility, it's impossible to be fearful. So I know that fear is the idleness of will. And if I go into fear, what I've literally done, even though I don't want to admit it, is said, I've given up. There's nothing more that I can do. And what I know is there's always something more that I can do. I can be more creative. I can be more resourceful. I can hire an outside consultant. There's always something that I can do. But you know what? I will figure it out because I am resourceful. Bottom of the page of the dashboard. If you haven't listened to it yet, there's an entire audio on being resourceful. It's more powerful to be resourceful than it is to have resources. This is on my desk from last week, an ounce of gold. We call this a resource. You know what? This can be lost. It can be stolen. It can be melted down. It can be thrown out. Anything can happen to this. But the more resourceful I am, the more of that I can create. You want to be resourceful. Number 7, I love this one. And I asked her to be on the call with me on Thursday, Coach Felicia. When she enrolled in TCP, she was on food stamps. Now she's making 6 figures per year. And I asked her on a call with me, and she said the phrase, this belongs to Felicia, one of my coaches, fear is your invitation. I agree 1,000%. Fear is telling you from a soulful level what you need to confront, what you need to overcome to grow and to expand. But most of us bump up into that fear and we stop. When you bump up into fear and you stop, read number 5 below, you will always stop. Fear is the universe telling you, hey, put on your pants, put on your big person pants. Let's go do this so that you can grow and you can evolve. Number 7, this one scares the hell out of you guys, is that many of you are like, Jim, what's the formula? I want to sit here and I want to make myself feel better and I want to make excuses. But tell me, Jim, tell me how to get to create what I want. Plain and simple. Take action. It'll address every one of these we've just covered. Take action, because until you take action, nothing is going to change for you, period. But then what many of you do is you get into your self-deception saying, oh, it'll change. Bullshit. You're lying to yourself. You got your head in the sand. Nothing will change in your life. And by the way, things don't change. People change. When you change, your life will change. So, after everything we've covered, is the fear from your brain and your past and your identity going to determine your future? Or is your future going to be determined by your mind and your power that you've started learning about in our time together? Be careful with your answer, because your answer is a choice. So let's talk about hard work here for a second. I grew up a small town Texas farm boy. I grew up getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning feeding the cattle. Rain or shine, warm or cold, hot or cold. That's what I did all during the school year. 5 o'clock in the morning in high school, out feeding the cattle. And it was not fun. I didn't want to get my butt out of bed. It was nice and warm and cozy. And I did it. And it was hammered into my head, because I grew up on a farm. It was hammered into my head that you've got to work hard in life. You've got to put your nose to the grindstone. You've got to struggle. Bullshit. That's what keeps people broke. People might work hard, but look at the being doing the hard work. Many people work hard like grunts. They work hard doing things that are simply just doing things, never looking at the identity that's doing the hard work. So the great myth of doing more and the illusion of working hard is, if I do more, I will have more. Have you noticed that you can do more, but notice, and I can see people on the screen, and you tell me who you are by the way you're dressed. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I don't care anymore. I want to relax. This has been a marathon in this series. I live in Sedona. We run around in flip-flops and t-shirts and shorts here. I mean, we live in the mountains. But here's the thing. We think if we work hard, then we'll have more. But have you ever noticed you can work your ass into the ground? You can work 7 jobs. All you do is work your butt into the ground. So it's not about doing more. It's not about working hard. It's about the being, doing the doing. So, what is the most effective being for your doing? Think about that, however that pertains to you. What is my most effective way to be while I'm doing? Let me concretize and give you an example. Let's say you're in sales, and many of you are in some kind of sales to some degree, but you're afraid. You're afraid people are going to tell you no. You're afraid people are going to reject you. You're afraid you're going to be bothering someone. But you know what? You can knock on as many doors as you want, metaphorically speaking, but how are you being? Think about that. And guess what? I'll tell you a little secret. If you're being fearful, the person you're selling to, if you're in a live presentation, they know it subconsciously. Why? Because subconsciously, we read people's body language. We read their voice pace, their voice tone. Are they speaking higher? Are they speaking lower? We read that subconsciously. And even though they might be nervous, not acting like they're nervous, we know they're nervous. You want to look at, how am I being? And then you want to pick the most powerful way of being that will then filter into your doing. So for most people, wanting more equals doing more. You know what? Doing, bottom of the screen, is a finite resource. As best I know, all of you only have 24 hours in a day. You can only do so much during a day. So guess what? You trying to do more, you got a cap on it. Doesn't matter what it is. You can only do so much, and your life is limited to what you can do. Again, I'm being repetitive here, but you're getting it. This is why it's important to be more preceding your doing, because everything will come from the being, and your doing will be more effective when your being is more effective. Doing more is not sustainable. You might get short-term results and a bit of a burst, but you know what? Or you could also get, and I can see some people here, you might get slow and incremental growth, meaning, okay, I've increased my wealth by 5 to 7% this year. Okay, next year I increase it by 5 to 7%. Even if you're investing money, it takes 8 years for you to double your investment at an 8% return per year. It's a slow boat to China doing it this way, but this is the way that we have learned to do it. I mean, I wish I was in a live audience so I could see you guys. How many of you guys, mom and dad has taught you, and these people online that hurt people by telling people this shit, and they just keep people trapped. You got to work till your eyeballs bleed. You got to take massive action and all these kind of things. Jim Rohn, people call him America's business philosopher. He's no longer on the planet. Jim Rohn once said back about 20 years ago, if you motivate an idiot, you've got nothing more than a motivated idiot. If you actually are doing and it's not effective doing, you're just simply doing more doing and wearing yourself out and then wondering why you can't get ahead in life. So being. So your life has not been changing because you have not understood your brain decides for you. That was module number 2. Your subconscious brain-based habits keep you trapped. What are your habits about fear? What are your habits about choices? What are your habits about stepping out in life? What are your habits about investing? What are your habits about learning more? Look at your habits. Number 3, it's not about mindset. Mindset is left brain, prefrontal cortex, analytical thinking. I think I want a better life. It's your brain set. What are the habits? What are the neural pathways already created in your brain that have actually, or they actually perpetuate the habits day in, day out? You want to look at the brain set. Want to look at the brain set? Simply look at your habits. That'll tell you exactly what your brain is wired to. Number 4, subconscious identity. You've learned until you shift your identity, nothing is going to change for you. Number five, we did that day number one, bottom at the end of day number one, the 432 Park Avenue to 432 Park Avenue, levels of thinking. We want to recognize we are the thinker of our thoughts, not our thoughts. That gives us power over our thoughts. Characteristics and ways of being. We've covered 6 today. Please review those again. Success is about characteristics. I covered that after we went through characteristics. Not about what you want in life. It's about the characteristics that create what you want. Number 8, you will not live to your potential. You will live up to your identity. Anitra, someone on my team, please remind me to post in the current group the American Idol video of Scott Wolf. I will post that. It'll be in the banner, and I will show you what happens when we live from a capped identity. This kid could have won American Idol. Even the judges said that, and he didn't because of his identity. And I will show you that. And what plays out with him also plays out with you guys. Okay, so what's next for you? Think about that. What's next for me? You're here for a reason. So if nothing's next for you, okay, I respect that. I can't want more for you than you want for yourself. You want a little more, a little better, a little different? That's not what I help people do. That's basically just adding to what you already have. What I help people do, my team helps people do, and my coaches help people do is complete life transformation at a core level. And depending upon how you approach it and what you do, we can dramatically shift your life in 90 days. Think about when I said that. You can dramatically shift your life in 90 days. What's your context on that? If your context is, no, that's not possible, that's hard, look where you're already working from. The only reason you haven't shifted your own life dramatically in 90 days, plain and simple, you don't know how. You don't know what we've covered in these 3 sessions. So if you want change in life, you must change. That means you must do something different. That means you must be something different. The bottom here is a quote from my brother-in-law, who is my mentor. He is a shaman. To change my world, I have to change myself. To change myself, I have to stop my world. When I stop my world, I can change myself. And when I can change myself, I can change the world. We have to pattern interrupt your life, which is what we do in TCP. Meaning, hey, everybody, let's get rolling. We're here for 13 weeks together. You show up for 13 weeks and you make your life revolve around your transformation. That is stopping the world you've been living in and recreating a new world for you, a new way of being. So it's time for a little bit of tough love with you guys. I've alluded to it earlier, ownership and responsibility in your life. I have these clackers here because I want to talk a little bit about cause and effect in your life. So the law of cause and effect is we are not in cause. When we're not in cause, we are in effect. Think about that. When we are not in cause, we are in effect. When we are in effect, we are then reactive to life. Let me explain what I mean. Many of you want more money, but you don't focus on the cause of more money, the identity. What you focus on is the effect of having the money. So when you're focusing on the effect, you're trapped in the effect. Wrong, broken approach. We want to start approaching from what is the cause of more money, more prosperity, and more abundance in my life. Well, the cause is my way of being. The way of being affects my doing. My doing affects that money that I want to have, the final effect. When we are reactive to life, we have no power. Why? Because life slaps us around. Want me to prove it to you? Look how many of you are reactive right now to the world around you, the fear around you, Fox News, CNN, Reuters, all the mumbo jumbo online, the economy, the interest rates, the this, the that, the this, the that. Notice how reactive you are being. And then what is the identity of that reactive being? There's no power in that. So if you want to transform your life dramatically, you've got a choice to make. Because guess what? I'm going to lead you, but you've got to make the choice. You've got to make the choice to allow the coaches and I to lead you. So a couple of more things here. Just own it. That's all I'm asking you. Whether or not you like me, I don't care. Here's what I want you to please understand. If your life has not changed in many, many years, stop blaming other people. That's victim mentality. Own it. If you do nothing different, that's okay. I mean that. But own it and do not complain about what you do not have. If your life is the same next year as it is this year, own it. You're the one who's created that. If you're happy or unhappy, own it. Happiness is an inside job. You're the one that's created it. If you transform your life from the inside out, own it. You are the one that has created that. Be responsible with your choices. So it's about time for some of us to part company. Couple of questions for you, for those of you that want more in life. Do you want to keep battling life? Do you want to keep struggling and chasing money, health, and peace and all life has to offer? The question is, do you want to keep battling life? If you do, I can't help you anymore. If your answer is no, I don't want to keep battling, I don't want to keep struggling, and I don't want to keep chasing health and money and peace, well, then stick with me for the next couple of minutes. As I said, if your answer is yes and you want to keep struggling, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful for that. I'm honored to be able to serve you. Maybe we'll cross paths at some other time. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, and I wish you well. But if you are serious about creating a whole new life, working with me and my coaches, then I want to show you what we can do to help you. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through this, but then I'm going to send you to a video where we walk through it even more. I'm just going to cover the highlights here today with you guys live. We're going to be around all week. We can answer questions. Do not let fear control you. So what we offer is the 13-week, we call it the Transformational Coaching Program. Let me walk you through this. Each and every week, we have a topic. Week number 1 is we're going to look at your subconscious values. What drives you subconsciously? Think about that. No one gets out of bed in the morning and says, what are my values today? Whatever your values are is what drives you. For example, I grew up in a household and one of my values is do not lie, do not cheat, do not steal. Small town Texas, Texas country farm boy. Matter of fact, my dad would whip my ass if I lied, cheated, or stole. So I learned very early not to lie, cheat, or steal. I don't get up in the mornings and say, hey, am I going to lie and cheat and steal today? I don't even question my values. Neither do you. But if somebody learned to steal and that's part of their values, they will get up and they will steal during that day. Why? It's part of their value system. No value is better than another. We simply have our values. Week number 1, you're going to discover your subconscious values and what drives you. You can't create the life that you want if you don't know what drives you. Think about that. You can't create the life that you want if you don't know what drives you. If what drives you is making music, but guess what? You're a CPA. You're not working from your values. You're working from someone else's values. That's why you're unhappy and not getting the life that you want. Week number 2, we will define and refine your vision and clarity. You got to know where you're going, but you won't know where you're going until you look at your values. Because if you don't know your values, you have no freaking idea where you're going to go in life. Because our values drive us, and we want to use the values as the gasoline, as the petrol and the engine to drive the vision. Week number 3 is going to come at you like a tsunami. Week number 3 is we're going to look at your stories. Think about that. Even think about what I'm saying to you right now. You're telling yourself a story as you're listening to this right now. And notice, as I said, you're telling yourself a story. Notice what you're talking to yourself about as I'm explaining this. Every bit of that is a story. The reason you don't have what you want in life is your stories hold you back, but your stories come from your subconscious identity and your past. We've got to look at your stories. You've got to look at your stories and create new stories. Number four, we're going to teach you how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Remember, that's your identity. Nothing changes till your identity changes. Week number five, we're going to spend a whole week on habits. Now, mind you, just because we spend a week on it doesn't mean we're there and we're gone. All of these things build as we go, and they build a foundation. If you're going to build a home, you've got to put the foundation, and everything sits on the foundation. So, like when you build a brand new home, which I just did, first we had to grade the ground. Then we had to lay the foundation, and then the subflooring went in, and then the roof went on. All these kind of things, it builds on itself. In TCP, it builds on itself. Each week, you will discover things about yourself you've never seen before because the homework is designed to show you your blind spots. The homework is designed to show you where you have trapped yourself in life. Week number six, we explore commitments. We look at what commitments are. We look at your commitments. Week number seven is all about choices. You've got to understand that every choice you make will lead you somewhere, and you have to learn how to make the choices related to your values that get you what you want to create in life. Week number eight is all about responsibility and becoming responsible for your life. Week number nine is all about interpretations. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You're at the mercy of your interpretations. And we make interpretations about everything. Notice right now, again, you're making interpretations about me. Whatever interpretations you're making in life will keep you or take you wherever you want to go or keep you where you are. You've got to learn more about interpretations and how to make interpretations that serve you, not interpretations that keep you trapped. Week number 10, 11, and 12 all are related, but we take a different approach to relationships, meaning number one, what's your relationship with you? I'm going to tell you something right now. I've heard it over and over and over and over. I bet you I've heard it 1,000 times, literally over the years. People will tell you when they're in TCP, weeks number 10, 11, and 12 will either strengthen your relationship with your partner or it will hasten what's going to happen anyway. Basically, we're going to help you build better relationships, or we're going to help you find the power in yourself that you recognize this isn't for me anymore. Not our place to tell you to stay in a relationship or leave. That's not what we do. We simply show you you. The entire program is like holding up a mirror to you saying, hey, look what we see. Now you see it. What are we going to do to coach you through this? And then week number 13 is tying it all together. The bottom slide, please. This is not an information program. Even though we're going to give you a lot of information and the homework, there's going to be a lot of homework is information. The homework is designed to create changes in you as you're going through the homework. Then we're going to coach you through those changes, whether it be in the group or on live calls with me and my coaches. So this is not about information. Don't think you're going to like enroll in an informational program and get a lot of training, blah, blah. Yes, you'll get it. But that's not what we do. What we do is we help you get the content and the context. You've got to get it in the context. This is an identity transformation experience. So this is what it looks like, okay? Is for 13 weeks, you're going to do live calls. I do the live calls and I lead them on Tuesday. I charge $2,000 per hour for one-to-one coaching. I'm going to coach you. If you're on a hot seat, meaning you asked to be coached, I'm going to coach you personally. If I did that one-to-one, it cost you $2,000. I'm going to coach on the Tuesday calls. The coaches, my senior coaches, are going to coach on the Friday calls. All of my senior coaches have been with me for at least 5 years. I've trained every one of them. They are damn good, and I'll put them up against any coach, any company, anywhere in this industry. So you're going to get 13 weeks of 2 live coaching calls per week. Plus, you're going to get daily mentoring from me and the coaches in the groups. You're going to get comprehensive weekly transformational homework. First couple of weeks are pretty easy. I'm going to tell you, but come week number 3, we're going to start some heavy lifting. If you're going to be lazy and you're going to be a crybaby, I'll talk about that in a moment. Go somewhere else. This is not for you. This is for people that are serious about transforming their life at a core level which means you got to do the work. So you'll also get all the weekly call audios, all the videos, everything we do in this group, you will get to keep for a lifetime. You'll have the weekly group. I'm in the group every day. My coaches are in the group every day. Our job is to bust our ass for you. We are here for you. Don't believe me? Get enrolled. You'll find out for yourself. We have no other interest at this point than helping you lead a lot better life. You will not be left alone, even though it's a group. I guarantee you, any question you have will be answered or coached. I guarantee you that 100%. That's how we work on this team. It's an entire proven system. Thousands of people have gone through this program. We offer a full money back guarantee, meaning go through the entire program, go through all 13 weeks. On week number 14, we're going to say to you, hey guys, it's week number 14. If we didn't deliver and you haven't become a new person or recognized you can create anything you want in life, let us know and we'll give you a refund. Of the thousands of people that have been through this program, we have less than 0.5% of refund requests. And I'll show you how to do a refund in just a moment. My whole thing is this: if we don't deliver and we don't do our job, then we don't deserve to get paid. Our job is you. You are our passion. What we do is our dharma. This is why we're on the planet. You'll find there's no program like this anywhere. I've worked the same events of Tony Robbins and all these people. This is not like you go to a 4-day rah-rah event. As a matter of fact, it's not even a motivational event because there are going to be days you're not going to like me. And in the very first TCP, I'll always be nice. I'll always be kind. I will never embarrass you. I will never shame you, nor will the coaches. We will never do anything to tear anyone down ever. That is not allowed in the group. But in the very first TCP, someone said, if you're not cussing at Jim and you're not yelling and screaming at him and crying, then you're not getting your money's worth. I will, and the coaches will challenge you, but we'll challenge you in a way to let go of your shit, to let go of your self-pity, to let go of these things that hold you back in life. Remember, it's transformational psychology, ancient wisdom, and modern day, transformational science and brain neurology. We will push you. If you think you can hide in the background in this corner, you're not enrolling in the right program. You don't get to hide. And no motivational rah-rah, blah, blah, hyperbole. It's none of that crap. It's not, you can win. I don't get into that shit. I don't like it, and we don't do it. It's all foundational processes we will take you through. Notice in the middle of the page here, it says soft sand. One of my friends is a Navy SEAL, and he said, Jim, they make us run on soft sand when we're training, because when you run on soft sand, you become a lot stronger. So when you run on wet sand, it's really easy. I'm just going to be honest with you. TCP is like we don't talk any religion, but it's like an ancient wisdom spiritual boot camp. We're going to run on soft sand for 13 weeks. We are going to challenge you. We're going to push you. And if you're afraid, good. It's time to enroll anyway, because we want to work you through that lovingly, respectfully, and caring. I mean, we do care about you. We do care what we do, but it's going to be work, just so you will know. The investment for transforming is $29.97 US. You get every bit of the program. You'll have over 70 hours of video and audio training and coaching, plus all the PDFs. You'll have the 28 live coaching calls with the coaches and me. I also will do lives in the group, as will the coaches, to add to those 28 live calls. You'll be in a private community of like-minded people. Warning, please listen very carefully. This community is very loving, very supportive, and also non-religious, very spiritual, meaning we're all about evolution and growth of ourselves. We don't allow people to poach the room. We don't allow people to talk down to people. We don't allow negativity. We don't allow people to dump their shit in the room or any of that. We are here to support you, and there is no community like this anywhere. And it's a deeper exploration of life and what it even means to be, and we will introduce you to yourself. As I said, and I'll show you some more, If at the end of 13 weeks, you can't say that, you know what, you get 10 times your investment back, guess what? Simply let us know. We're not going to fight. We're not going to haggle. Okay, not a problem. Why? It's not worth our time to fight with you and haggle with you if you want to stay in your shit. So we're not going to fight with you. Okay, done deal. Wishing you the best. We're always here. Just stay well. And there are payment plans available. In a moment, I'm going to send you to a video. It takes all of this apart. There are registration links. Everything is explained to you. You get to see videos, all of that for the 100% money back guarantee. If you don't believe or know at the end of 13 weeks that you can 10 times your investment when done, simply let us know. Again, we will remind you. Who the hell reminds you that, hey, by the way, ask for a refund? We remind you because that's the level of integrity that we have here. Now, to ask for the refund, you got to do the work and we can check it, meaning you got to be on 80% of live calls. And if you can't, let us know. You have to submit all of your homework done. Don't think you can enroll and not show up and then ask for a refund. Bullshit doesn't happen here. If you enroll, when you enroll, you got to do the homework. And if you want a refund, just show us you've done the homework. Give us all of your homework done so we will know you did the work. Because if you don't do the work, you won't get the outcomes. But yet there are times people will ask for coaching and they won't do the work. You're wasting your time. You're wasting our time. And all you got to do is hop on a 10-minute call with me or one of my coaches. No one's going to shame you. No one's going to make you feel bad. We just want to know what we didn't do to help you get what you want in life. A couple of more slides here. Let's talk about loss. Let's just imagine here how much money you're going to lose by holding on to your current identity. Let's say that you make $100,000 per year, but pick any number that you currently make, okay? Now, let's say, for example, that you increase that 100,000 by 50%. That means next year you'd make $150,000 per year. Now, how many more years are you going to be in business? Let's say 10 more years. 10 more years times $50,000 is $500,000. So the investment is $29.97 and it's fully guaranteed. Are you willing to lose, that $500,000 over a guaranteed $29.97 investment? Think about that. Think about that, because that's what, and by the way, I'm not going to blow smoke up your rear end, but we've had many people come in this program and they've actually went from 200,000 a year to $1 million a year. Takes a little time, a year and a half. Felicia, hopefully she can be on the call with me on Thursday. She was on frickin' food stamps when she enrolled. Now she's up into the 6-figure range. We build you because you sure as hell haven't learned and you don't know how to create it prior to now. It's our job. And I was there. I spent 30 years spinning my wheels. Let us take our years of expertise or decades and help you stop spinning your wheels. But think about how much you're going to lose by not transforming, and you have zero risk to do it. So who TCP is not for? We are a collaborative community from all over the world. We one time did a review of the room. We had people from 20 different countries. Normally we have larger programs. Right now we're running a small one. We've got about 120 people, I think. So I promise you will get personal attention. But we are a collaborative global community. And I love that because you're going to get to see no matter who you are, where you live, we're all the same in the world dealing with the same crap. Same fears, same this, same that. Who TCP is not for. If you're a know-it-all, hey, click off and go somewhere else. I don't want to work that hard, neither do my coaches. Above there, this is not therapy. We do not dispense therapy. We do coaching. We have a ton of therapists in the room and in coaching with us, but we don't do therapy. If you need therapy, go to therapy. If you're a know-it-all, you're not a fit. It's not worth our time. If you're going to be a crybaby, you're not a fit. If you're going to be unmotivated and lazy, not a fit. And then bottom right, not therapy. Basically, put on your big person pants and show up and let's roll up our sleeves and do some work together. We got your back. We'll actually take you as far as you want to go in life, but we won't carry you. We will lead you, but we will not carry you. Why would I let you continue to stay a victim? I'm not going to do that. 1 minute video here. Just give me 1 minute. and we'll wrap up. 1 minute video from somebody that just finished up the program. And there's a link where you can watch hundreds of these. This is one out of hundreds.
I just want to say thank you to Jim Fortin for his TCP. It is life-changing. I entered the course because I had blocks in money and manifesting more money. And I had tried so many different things, so many different programs, so many different books, everything you could think of to solve these money blocks, which were over 20 years old. And I finally solved them. The crazy part is they were completely subconscious, so I could not have done it without Jim. I made my money back that I invested in the program within a month, and I doubled my income within 3 months. So my only regret about joining TCP is that I did not find it sooner. It's amazing. Run, don't walk. I highly recommend it. Thanks, guys.
By the way, her video and all the rest on the video page, no one is paid for their testimonials. So we don't pay for these. We simply just ask. People do this out of the goodness of their heart without even being asked because they want to contribute back to other people, just like Ann did. Ann's actually in the more advanced programs now as well, but she was in TCP 2 rounds ago. So anyway, you know what to do. And I have one final question for you today. If you knew absolutely for certain that I could help you transform your life, build in all the steps, give you a roadmap, and set you free in life, and guarantee it, you'd want to know more, would you not? So to learn more, go to jimfortin.com/enroll. You'll be able to enroll there. You'll find all the details. You'll watch testimonial videos. There will be a video again on everything that we cover, everything you get. We are available for questions. Simply actually email support@jimfortin.com. Excuse me. We're going to be doing a call on Wednesday, Q&A and live coaching session. So let's say right now you're like, okay, I like all this, but I want to know if it's for me or not. Well, talk to one of my coaches. Go to jimfortin.com/book a call. You'll hop on a live call with one of my coaches. No hard pressure. I don't allow that. Basically, they're going to just help you discover what you're looking for. If we can help you, we'll tell you. If we can't help you, we will tell you. Why are we so honest? Because if we can't help you and we tell you we can, you're more work than it's going to be worth for us. It's not worth it for the investment. Simply talk, and I don't mean you as a human being, but I mean the time commitment. So go to jimfortin.com/book a call or jimfortin.com/enroll. So to get enrolled, again, jimfortin.com/enroll. I'm going to stop screen sharing and we'll finish up from here. I thank all of you people for being here, for your time, your energy, your love, your commitment, you showing up. Whatever you do, I support. Whatever kind of life you want, I support. I want you to do what you want to do. Yeah, if any of this resonates with you and you're serious about going to the next level in life and having somebody hold your hand and show you, at least explore some more. Not asking you for any kind of commitment today. Just explore what we can do for you. And I promise you, in 13 weeks, like Ann or anyone else, they will tell you, if I said, I'll give you all of your money back, and I said that to you now, but you got to give me all the training back, I guarantee you pretty much everyone would say, no, you don't get the training and coaching back. So hey, after this, let's head to the room. Not the second, but we're there for you guys. The coaches are there. I'll be there tonight. I'm going to be doing another money live probably tomorrow. I'll be talking a lot more about money. And by the way, our job is to help you with money also. Money is mental. It's only mental shit that gets in your way with money. You listen to Ann, 20 years of blocks. She didn't even know she had. So we'll help you with every bit of that. No worries, okay? And then make sure you're on the live call on Wednesday where I'm going to be calling on people just like Ryan, is that Farber? And saying, if Ryan's not showing up, I'm going to call on Ryan and say, where are you stuck? Or anyone else here, because I'm going to coach you out of your shit. I promise. All right, guys, stay well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the room. Thank you for being here. Take care. See you later.